Good morning, everyone. I hope you're having a good time. This is Amir Ismail from Toronto, Canada, and we are back with another episode of Immigrant Success Stories by Amir Ismail and Associate. I'm an authorized citizenship and immigration practitioner with over 28 years of immigration industry experience. If you want to learn more about our company and the services we provide, feel free to visit our website, www.amirismail.com. So, our guest today is a profound HR professional with several years of experience in this industry. He is a master's in HR from the UK. Mr. Naweel Yousfani is our guest today, and I'm very happy for him to be with us today. I remember meeting with him back in 2014 in Karachi, and I remember he traveled all the way from Hyderabad to see me in my Karachi office, and we assisted him in his immigration application. He came to Canada in 2016, and he has quite a story to tell because I, for one, was really impressed with this very talented young man, and he was very impressive, very determined, very focused. And when he came to Canada, he remained the same way. He joined one of big organizations, started from a lower rung of the ladder, and made his way through to the management position. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Naweel Yousfani.
Assalamu alaikum.
How are you doing?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I try to give a little bit of background about you, and I understand you are an HR professional. Give us a little bit of background about yourself, and then we start asking questions so that our audience, that include newcomers and prospective immigrants who have a lot of questions about settlement in Canada, they have a lot of doubts and concerns, and experienced immigrants like yourself who have experienced the ordeal, I would say, or maybe the difficulties, be it employment, be it the weather that a lot of people complain about. Your precious advice would be very, very helpful. So let's start with your brief introduction and we then go on from there.
Right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and assalamu alaikum, everybody. Thank you so much, first of all, for the wonderful intro. You have pretty much said everything. Just what you have not mentioned is where I was born and raised. So I was born in Hyderabad, as you have already mentioned, that I was traveling from Hyderabad to see you in Karachi. I was raised in district Badin, which is a small city or district in province Sindh. So the reason I'm just mentioning this is just you don't have to be in a big city to move to Canada. You can be anywhere you want. The only thing that matters is how passionate you are and uh, are you dreaming big or not. Anyway, so I did my schooling from Badin, then I moved to Hyderabad and then Karachi, and then I went to England for my post graduation into human resources management, and then I came back to Pakistan and stayed for another 4 or 5 years before I made the biggest move of my life to Canada, and here I am today in 2019, enjoying the weather. It's been snowing since early morning.
That's
It's all
right.
white outside. Yes.
Yeah, and I understand you went all the way to the UK, and it's a prestigious degree from Westminster that you got in HR. It's a master's degree. So, having lived in the UK and then coming back to Pakistan and working there for 5 years, and then deciding about Canada, why didn't you think about moving to the UK? And one, and number two, when you came to Canada finally, how can you compare the two countries and what is the reaction of immigrants, the locals toward immigrants, or what you call it, aliens?
Right.
Let us know, enlighten us about that.
I would just put it in one word, like welcoming. Canada is a lot more welcoming than any other country, I would say, because they genuinely care about the new immigrants. And that is why they have so many programs in place, you're a doctor, you're HR, you're into accountancy. There are so many government funded programs which give you the right education and experience to, showcase yourself into the job market.
Yeah, wonderful. So, as an HR professional, when you were deciding to come to Canada, and it basically applies generally to anyone who is interested in migrating to Canada from any field, I've seen that a lot of people go into other walks of life other than their education and work experience. And I think, like everyone else, you perhaps started with lower end jobs. Um, what was your expectation when you were coming to Canada, and were you disappointed when you came here and couldn't find a job, perhaps in your own field? And what did you do basically to get back to your profession where you have this specialty? You are a master in your HR field. So it did take you a bit of time to get back on track. But was it a little bit of a shock or disappointing for you, or were you really prepared for struggle, or let us know.
Yes, absolutely. You would be disappointed if you're thinking that you're gonna land in Toronto and there will be a job in your position available. I mean, you need to be open to all the opportunities. Simple as that. If you are ready to take on the challenges that would come in your way as soon as you start a new life in a different new country, you need to be that have that open mindset. So just to tell you how I started in my current organization. So like any new immigrant, I know I had to start from scratch. I started throwing my resumes at the retail businesses. I got job offers from five different retailers in customer service sales, and so now I have to pick one of the five job offers. And the company that I am with right now is the Home Depot. And honestly, Home Depot was not even an option for me. I said, nope, put Home Depot aside because I don't know their business, because in Pakistan, uh, we have never got involved into home improvement projects or construction. Our fathers do all these kind of stuff.
Right.
So I said, I'm just gonna go to Walmart or things like that. But two things made me go to Home Depot. I did my research. I said, okay, let me see what is Home Depot, because I had no idea. And I
Right.
said, okay, that's interesting. There are challenges. And the second was, I wanted to have a job where I can speak more and more and more, where you can um, doing consultation with the customers so that you can improve your communication skills basically. Because if you go in a job like security or just any other job like pack downs, that's the only thing I would say to the new immigrants is try to get a job, even if it's a survival job as we call it here, where you can get to interact with people, right? I mean, you can improve on your communication skills, because that would be a big help to you.
Yeah, it's a very good advice, basically, because I think language is the biggest barrier when it comes to securing a job. And most of the immigrants, when they arrive here, and they are in the transition phase, they might have to do additional courses, or if they are coming into a regulated occupation, they might have to go for licensing. And in that transition period, they might have to go for few jobs, or some of the jobs that may survive them for that during that transition period. And most of the jobs are in, say, sales and retail, which are easily obtainable. And all these focus on your communication skills. And yeah, you might be fluent in English already, but improvement is always available. There's always a room to improve your communication skills. So it's a very good advice. So what do you think? I mean, someone who is working at a management level, say in HR industry, is interested to come to Canada, what steps they should take in order to get themselves recognized and appreciated from the point of view of competence and qualification? Do they have to do any additional courses, or is there a professional organization that they can join? Give us information so the audience that is hearing in general and specifically the HR people could benefit from it.
Yes, absolutely. So, to get yourself into the HR in terms of education, there are certain courses available. I went to Sheridan College to do my certification into HR, which will earn you. Which will make you eligible for writing your CHRP exam, and that will get you the CHRP title. So I did that. I went to college. I did my certification from there. And one thing I want to add here is also um, the HRPA, which is the Association for Human Resource Professionals. I would highly recommend all the HR professionals to register to be a member of HRPA because they arrange like meet and greet events pretty much every month or every 2 months. Like a lot of gatherings, they discuss different topics, and it's always good to attend those events. Most of them they are free or maybe just $10-20, I would say. This also gives you an opportunity to build your network, meet other people, find out about the job market, and then just work your way up.
Okay, wonderful advice. So, confining yourself to your home and getting depressed, maybe it's a good idea to even volunteer, go out and meet with people. It's a new country, after all. So, even if you were to move to another city in your own country, uh, there is no other way but to go out and introduce yourself. So, I think it's a very, very good advice that you just gave us. Now, in terms of HR technicalities, you, of course, approach employer by way of sending out a resume or a CV, and that is the synopsis of what you have done, and that becomes the basis of them um, getting interested in you, and you get their attention. So, tell us about the difference between this particular document and why it is important for immigrants to understand the Canadian format of this document. Should we say CV or resume, and how does it different when it comes to applying for jobs here and then what you do in your home country?
Right. So I think that's the biggest challenge here because a lot of people continue on saying CV, sending CV, but in Canada it's called resume. Basically, resume is one page or two, I would say max. I would still keep it to one page, but again, if you have a lot of experience, a lot of things going on in your life, in your professional life, and you want to showcase that, I would say two-page would be maximum. Just highlight what your achievements are, where have you worked, and just give a synopsis of your professional life. Um, Sending CV, because I have also worked in the staffing center, and I can see the new immigrants who come from Pakistan, India, Bangladesh. Um, they are 7 pages, 6 pages, and 8 pages, and that's a lot of reading. I mean, to be honest, if you keep it to one page, fantastic, awesome. And I would highly encourage everyone before you even move to Canada, make sure you have a resume in place, work on your resume, and start sending those resumes instead of CV because I mean, a lot of people probably wouldn't know what CV is. So I would say focus on resume, highlighting your professional achievements, and just go from there.
Yeah, it's a good advice because a lot of people they don't care about these technicalities, and then they end up seeing that they are not being entertained or they don't hear back from their employer because a lot many times I've seen that the selection from the bunch of candidates also happens through machine, and you might not be able to make it at the first stage because it might get lost. Your CV might get lost if it's not in the resume format. So good advice, and I expected this coming from an HR professional because you have.
Also, I just want to add a quick point here. One of the other mistake that we do is sending out the same resume to 20 different places,
Right.
right? You gotta, take some time out because once you land here, first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, pretty much there is nothing you are doing. I mean, because you are doing your job hunting, right? So I would say take some time out, look at the job responsibilities, look at the job description, and if you want to trim your resume and add those keywords, that would be really beneficial.
Yeah, that would be handy because that attracts the attention of the employer or recruiter when they're scanning through hundreds of resumes. So that is a good advice. Now, in terms of the second stage in the hiring process, where you are screened, you are scheduled for maybe a telephone interview or maybe an in-person interview or an interview like this. How does it differ in Canada, or does it differ at all? And how people should prepare for it? What is unique about a Canadian job interview?
So, being an HR professional, I have experienced myself a lot of interviews in Pakistan. I've done a lot of interviews in Pakistan, and there is a major difference between how the interviews are done in Pakistan and Canada.
Right.
In Pakistan, if I talk about myself, I've gone into interviews where they ask a lot of questions about the theory, like, can you explain Maslow's theory of, you know, this theory, X theory, Y? But and in comparison to Canada, um, they ask you questions which are situation based or behavioral based.
Right.
For example, tell us about a time when you had to deal with a difficult customer. What did you do? And the easiest or the right way to answer this question is I always say to new immigrants or whoever speaks to me, I say, don't just say, yeah, I've done this and I've dealt with a lot of difficult customers. Be specific with an example and follow the SAR model, which is explain the situation, what action you took, and what was the result, what was the outcome. Go in that flow and present your case.
Yeah. Okay. So this is again a very good advice and very practical. I had the chance, of course, reviewing your credentials earlier, but when you came to Canada, these have changed big time because you have gained experience here, and you also got education in your own field, specifically a certificate course from Sheridan College. But you already have had a master's degree when you came in, and that master's degree was from UK. So, what was the need of doing that certificate course when you already had a master's degree from UK under your belt? You had experience, you had exposure, but you still had to do it. Did you do it out of just a desire to get some Canadian education, or was it the need of the time and the requirement, so to speak?
I did that course to feel comfortable because, to be honest, having a postgrad from England, from the UK, uh, I would have not felt comfortable getting myself a job into HR because all the countries have different labor laws. In Ontario, we have different employment standards. So it was really, really mandatory and crucial to know about all those laws. What are the employment standards?
Right.
Even having a degree from UK, it's fine, it's awesome. But if you don't know the local labor laws, what are the employment standards of your province, I think there was this gap. So in order for me to feel comfortable and to be competent in the market, I decided to take on that course.
Yeah. So I could sum it up as hard work, right? Because someone who has the option of just staying back and saying that I do have a master's degree. What is the need of for me to set aside my precious time and do an additional course? But you still did it for your own satisfaction, to familiarize yourself with the system here, and it was wonderful. So basically, there are no secrets to success. It's the result of preparation, hard work, and learning from your failures. So I went through your profile and I see that after coming to Canada, you joined Home Depot, and it's a big concern. Basically, it's a big organization. You started as a sales specialist, which is totally different what you do. And you mentioned that you benefited from it because you had the chance of communicating with people, mingle with them, improve your communication skills. But um, correct me if I'm wrong, you did not make that choice out of your own will. You perhaps took up the job, but then amazingly, you went into the same line of business you desired to go because you are an HR professional, and from a sales specialist to you went ahead to become a retail staff coordinator, then HR staffing coordinator, and now you are a human resource manager managing people. How did you do it? How did the employer notice you? And what exactly did you do that made you succeed in the same organization where you joined in a different capacity but moved on to what you really wanted to be?
My motto in life has always been uh, persistence overcomes resistance. So you need to be persistent. I watched the other couple of videos that you have already done, and my fellow Pakistanis in living in Canada, they talked about how great Canada is, how awesome this country is. But I would just add this: you also need to be awesome. You also need to be awesome, because once you get hired, once you are associated with a company, now this is your chance to showcase yourself. It's you. I mean, honestly, I mean, I was a sales associate, a sales specialist in flooring. I had no idea what flooring is. I mean, what kinds, how many different types of flooring are. I mean, laminate, hardwood. I mean, I'm not here to market the flooring, but just to
Right.
give you an idea, I had zero idea. Absolutely not. The only um, the the extent of my knowledge about flooring was this is something we walk on. That's it. That was the extent of my knowledge. But taking initiatives, projecting yourself. We do a lot of workshops and presenting yourself. Oh yes, I will do the workshop. You get to speak in front of the audience, and then building your relationships within the company, outside the company. You build your network, and that's how I worked my way up to this position as an HR manager. It did involve a lot of challenges. For example, again, as I started with when I said you need to be open to different options, right? Um, going back to the education where I talked about taking this course at Sheridan College. I would encourage all the newcomers to take the courses, and you have an option to do it online and in person. I chose to do it in person because again, you get to meet people. You build relations, you build your network, and this is how I did. So even having a job at Home Depot, my HR coordinator job was in Niagara Falls. So commuting from Milton to Niagara Falls is like 200 kilometers, and then for example, Monday I had classes in the evening in Mississauga, so I'm going to Niagara Falls in the morning, coming back in the evening to Milton, and then getting ready for my school, and then coming back home around 10, 11. So it definitely takes a lot of hard work, and you need to be open, be passionate, dream big, and just go for it. Just don't be disappointed because there will be challenges in your life, and you need to tackle those challenges. You need to deal with those challenges.
Yeah, and nothing goes unnoticed if you are working hard, and your employer definitely did take notice about it, and you upgraded your qualifications and everything. So we're going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, we're going to ask about your personal life and how are you doing in terms of striking the work-life balance. And I'm talking just like an HR person myself right
Right.
now, because we have a specialist in HR right now in front of us. A quick break and we come back.
Okay.
All right, welcome back, everyone. We have with us Naweel Yousfani, an immigrant from Pakistan, and it's a good opportunity for anyone who's watching to learn from his experiences, to learn from his perseverance and his hard work. And if you're interested in migrating to Canada, these people can be your example. How did they make it through? So basically, we understand that opportunities, they don't happen. You have to create them, and you did create opportunities for yourself, and you did stick around as well because you had the advantage, of course, being a young person coming to Canada. We see a lot of people, they get depressed uh, very easily. I'm sure this was not the case with you. When you came here, you were determined that you're gonna make it. How did it go then?
So I use an example. I use an example of Google Map, because a lot of times people say before you move to Canada or before you do anything in your life, you need to have a plan. It's okay to have a plan, fantastic. But I just want to say to all the viewers that even if you don't have a plan, take the example of a Google map. So where you know where you are and what's your destination. And then, just use, as we use the Google map, it gives you different options. And then you need to know what route to take. I mean, that this means what resources are available to you and how you're going to use it, what resources, what you want to use it, and when you want to use it, where you want to use it. So I would always quote this example because I mean I landed in Canada. I just know that I have to get into HR, and I could have gone to schooling first and not do anything else, but I decided to go and take on this job in customer service sales at the same time doing my course. And then the other thing was, now, as mentioned earlier, I was a sales associate for or sales specialist for 12 months. Now, one would think, oh, like I'm into sales for 12 months, things are not working out. My question is, even things are not working out and it's been 12 months and you don't see yourself getting yourself into your professional field, what are you going to do? Are you going to start from scratch? Case in with me as well, being 12, 13 months into sales role, and I thought, do I want to switch a company and start from scratch, or I want to stuck around? So I did stuck around, and in my 15 month at Home Depot, I landed myself a job into HR.
Wonderful advice, and very nicely put. The way you have progress in a very short span of time. I've rarely seen that because it takes a while. The the success doesn't come overnight. You have to wait for it, and persistence, as you said, is the key. If you are not persistent, if you're not giving your 100% on continuous basis, it's very rare. But in your case, this is the same thing, but I've seen that you have progressed very, very quickly and enjoy the life that you have right now. Um, so we could say that it is you being able to come out of your comfort zone. You came out of your comfort zone. You worked hard to remain positive despite the fact that you started from the lower rung of the ladder, but you made it through. So wonderful. So let us know about the general living conditions here. If you have landed a good, reasonable job, um, weather is one of the concern. A lot of people complain about all the time. I don't know why, but uh, it may be depressing sometimes because the winter is longer. I personally enjoy winter here and snow, but was it a bit of a shock for you in terms of looking for suitable accommodation, looking for friends because you leave your friend circle behind, you feel lonely perhaps, or you miss your social circle, and on top of all of that, the gray weather that you have to endure for a longer period of time than in your home country that you used to.
As I said earlier, right now it's snowing. It's been snowing since morning, and I absolutely love it. Did hear about a lot of things that Canada gets negative 32 temperature, negative 36, and I would wonder, like negative 36, that's insane. I mean, how would you live in negative 36? But when I came to Canada and saw myself, it doesn't really stop you from doing anything. It's just as a normal day as any other day. I mean, it doesn't make a difference whether it's plus 30 or negative 30. because you have a lot of they have done a lot of things to deal with, to cope with the weather in a weather like this. For example, you have snow tires, and personally, if you ask me, I love driving in snow. May sound insane, but I absolutely love it if as long as you have snow tires on. And the heating, I absolutely don't see any issues um, with snow or -32, -36, because you have the things available which will even like the jackets, the gloves, the hats, the houses, the heatings. Your car has heated seats. Your car has a heated steering wheel. Um, I I would say it's like any other normal day.
Yeah, and and the harsh weather that we talk about, of course, the winters are longer here, but the spell of that -36 actually with the wind chill, and that spell is very short, I would say, because normally, I mean, if you go into minus, it doesn't really matter then how. But if you are living in a hot environment, the more the temperature increases, the worse it becomes, right? So I personally prefer to be in a colder place rather than hotter place. So all those people in the audience who are based in somewhere in Middle East and thinking about moving to Canada, prepare yourself to embrace some really cold weather here in Canada. But we do have all the seasons, right? I mean, we have summer, we have spring, we have everything. So winter could be longer, but still, we do enjoy summer. And in fact, we appreciate summer than anyone else because we know it's not going to stay longer, right?
Absolutely. And honestly, in Pakistan, if you live in +44, +45, you can definitely live in -36.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay, so that is wonderful. So I'm very, very thankful for you to setting aside your precious time on a working day today, just for the sake of sharing your ideas with those who are interested in migrating to Canada and they have questions. So your advice would be very well received by all of them. Is there anything that you would like to add as a tip or advice to prospective immigrants? What do they think about? What steps they could take before they could migrate if they're in the process?
I would simply say be open-minded, be open to all the opportunities, and just keep an example of that Google map. Doesn't matter you don't know how to get to one location, but as long as you know what's your destination is, you would find your way to that destination in Canada. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, wonderful to have you, Naweel, today with us. And I wish you all the very best in your endeavors in Canada. And I'm sure that you'll see more success in your new country.
Inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
So this was Naweel Yousfani from Pakistan, and what a wonderful gentleman. He has been an example of hard work, and he made it in Canada successfully. If you want to get in touch with our offices, please feel free to get in touch with us. I'm going to show you the slide for our office information, and then if you have any further questions, please feel free to leave a comment. And I bid you goodbye until our next episode. Take care.